Hello again, YouTube. I am back again. I'm on vacation from work, so it's going to be a little bit easier to talk to you. My daughter's in another room. She's on spring vacation, so it's all good. Now, today we are talking about something that really bugs me and a lot of parents are concerned about, so this is a big subject, really. I've seen people like Kat Von D's cover this, and of course, Jenny McCarthy has covered this, but uh, as Kat Von D said, she was not fully informed about vaccines when she went and said she was thinking about being anti-vax. So don't be mad. She was just not informed. And that's the way a lot of people are about vaccines. Vaccines are important. They are important for your child to get, especially since they're preventable diseases. Perfectly preventable. Our vaccines here in the United States are safe. Sorry, they're safe. They're not going to cause autism. They're not going to cause genetic disorders. So people who think that they're going to cause autism, there is no science at all to support your claim. Um, Sorry, autism is genetic. Both parents have to have a genetic responder for autism. And autism is a broad spectrum disorder. Just because you go, oh, my child's got autism, or oh, that kid's got autism, that doesn't mean it's the same kind of autism. There's ADD, there's ADHD, there's Asperger's, there's lots and lots of forms of autism, and there's all different functionalities. There's high functioning, there's low functioning, there's mid-range functioning, and you can have a set of twins. One will have autism, one won't. Has nothing to do with vaccines. There's very few side effects that can actually happen with vaccines. And most of the time, the side effects can be a mild allergic reaction. And that's why they ask if your child or anyone has a chance of being allergic to some of the ingredients, is because there can be an allergic reaction that can cause harm, but it is extremely rare to cause these issues. And I mean extremely. It's not normal whatsoever for a person to have a reaction with vaccines. You guys can actually look it up. It's known science. It's very rare. Vaccines can't really make you sick. You're getting a nice way to phrase it is a sanitized, pretty much dead form of the disease to build antibodies so your body will fight it off. They are not injecting you with a deadly disease that's going to hurt you or anything else. It's not going to hurt your child in most cases. It's very rare for a vaccine to actually do anything to a child. But there are rare occurrences where this can happen. My children, besides the chickenpox vaccine, are both fully vaccinated. I have no problem taking, like when eventually me and my husband have another child, or have a child together in this case, I have no issues taking my child to get vaccinated. Child might not even be allergic to the chickenpox vaccine, which both of my prior children were. My son had a very strange reaction with it, so he only got one. My daughter, not as strange, but still a mild reaction with it, so the doctor said, okay, well, I don't think it's a good idea to give your daughter anymore. Same thing with my son. I listened to my doctors. Okay, even tetanus, you can have a reaction with a tetanus shot, which is a necessary shot for blood poisoning to prevent it. I can never have another tetanus shot. I actually got tetanus, and it was not fun. I was told I could not take another tetanus shot. And I was 11 years old at the time. And I can't have another one because of that reaction with the tetanus, which was painful, to say the least. But I may have ended up with lead poisoning if I hadn't, because I had a railroad spike go through my foot. Hazards of playing, I guess, but it can happen. I've had lots of nails and stuff end up in my feet over the years. I've gotten very lucky. I keep them clean to where I don't have the issue, but one of these days I might not be lucky. And then I'll have to find another way of dealing with blood poisoning. But that's okay. I've accepted it. As I said, sometimes you can have a weird reaction or an adverse reaction to vaccines, but that's why you go to the doctor. Most people never have an issue with a vaccine. My children get vaccinated for the flu every year, and my son's 20, and he still gets vaccinated for the flu. My daughter's 15, I get her vaccinated for the flu. And the flu shot is literally a guess. Sometimes the doctors get it right. Okay, this strain and this strain and this strain are going to be going on. And then sometimes they get it wrong, and instead it's other strains that they didn't take into account that were going to happen. So you just have to suck it up, buttercup. But vaccines are important. I am very against anti-vax parents. I don't want them to feel like they're being attacked or anything. It's just I can't agree with it. Simple reason being, vaccines save lives. They don't cause autism like a lot of anti-vax parents think. There are very few disorders that can actually be caused, and it's very, very, very rare that your child would ever get any of these. And normally it's, if they're going to have a reaction, it's going to be an allergic reaction, not, oh, yeah. But it's not going to be as bad as what anti-vax websites and stuff make you think it's going to be. In fact, it is completely the opposite. My son had a reaction with chickenpox vaccine. It scared me. I will admit, it did scare me. But thanks to the doctors and everything, we got the reaction under control immediately. And when my daughter went and had her chickenpox vaccine, because of the reaction that her brother had, I had to sit in the office with the doctor because the reaction took like 3 hours. I had to sit in the office for about 4 hours with her. That way the doctor could watch her for any kind of reaction. And she did have a slight reaction. But because of us catching it as fast as we did, it was over just as fast as it started. So in turn with her, it really helped knowing that her brother had a reaction with it. So in turn, we knew what to watch for on her, and her doctor knew and was able to take care of it right then and there. No issues. Now back to the anti-vax parents. As you've seen on the news or read, because I read the news, I don't physically watch the news, I'm sorry. Newscasts are like fluff, death, 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 horrible things, death, death, fluff, death, death, horrible things. Yeah. And most of the time it's about things I really don't care about. So subject matter that I care about, I look up and I read the news myself. In Oklahoma, a couple weeks ago, if you had your child in a certain Walmart, I think it was Pryor, Oklahoma, I'm not for sure, there was a case of anti-vax parents who brought their child with a perfectly preventable disease to a Walmart and exposed hundreds of people to a live virus at an infectious state in the disease. I don't know if these parents were misinformed on how bad this disease can be. I think if I remember right, it was the measles. The measles can be deadly for young children, just like I didn't know that chickenpox could be deadly, but it can. Mumps can be deadly. All these things that we vaccinate against can be deadly if they're not prevented. And if a child has a compromised immune system and you're bringing this child into contact with these diseases, they may not be able to properly fight it, like children that are too young for vaccines. These are children within like the 2-month age. You, by not vaccinating your children, are putting these children at risk. You are literally not only risking your own children, you are risking other people's children. When I started at my job, I work at a hospital, found out I didn't have a lot of vaccines. I don't know why. I don't know if I got a bad batch or what happened when I was younger, but I was not fully vaccinated. Guess what I did, people? The hospital that I work at said, okay, well, we will vaccinate you real quick and you'll be done. Guess what? I got fully vaccinated. So I got revaccinated at I think I was 38. Completely revaccinated for everything. Because my vaccines were no good. And instead of risking catching these diseases or spreading these diseases, I went and got revaccinated. It wasn't a big deal to me. I knew the risk involved, I knew everything like that, and the needs of the many outweigh the wants of the few, I guess is a good way to phrase it. But you have to look at actual sites that know what they're talking about, not the anti-vax sites. The anti-vax sites are just going to scare parents. There is no science stating that not vaccinating your child does your child any good. But there are studies that state that vaccinating your children does your child good. You are not preventing autism or any disorder like that by vaccinating your children. If your child has autism, it's going to start showing up early in life. I'm talking about a year-old, year and a half, 2 years old. Most cases of autism are caught by the time the child is 2, unless the child is extremely high functioning, and then it may not be caught till later. But at the same time, most children are caught before the age of 2 who have true autism. There are cases where it is misdiagnosed and not caught till later, that it was misdiagnosed in the first place. So please, don't think that vaccines are going to give your child a disease that's going to hurt it. In fact, they're there to prevent diseases that can hurt or kill your child. This is really what's bothering me, that all these anti-vax parents go and don't do the research that is actually necessary. And some parents over-research and then they scare themselves. If you are unsure, talk to your pediatrician. Talk to your doctor. Talk to several doctors. If you are ever unsure, get a second opinion, get a third opinion. Doctors will tell you what they know. And it's important for parents to know as much as they can while doing the best they can for their kids. So look up things, yes, do all the self-discovery you want, but look at many different views. For most of the information I get, I use websites that I know are good, like the Mayo Clinic and places like that. I also look up studies. And this is my idea of fun that's really lame, but I like to be pretty well educated about things before I tell people things. But I like to know facts. I will also talk to several doctors. I will talk to several people before I make any kind of decision. I don't just go and make a decision without having any kind of prior knowledge. I've known one person in my lifetime that has had an adverse reaction besides me getting tetanus from a tetanus shot and my kids having a bad reaction with chickenpox vaccine. I've only known one other person in my lifetime that had a bad reaction with vaccines. And this was like 1 in a million chance that she would have it. I remember I was friends with her sister, and my older brother was friends with her older brother. Casey and Kobe, I believe. Their parents had a thing with C names. And this was back in St. John's, Arizona, where I am originally from. Explains why I don't really have that much of an accent or anything like that. I'm from St. John's, Arizona. Little town. But their little sister had a reaction, from what I could gather from my parents talking, with the DPA or one of those vaccines, and it messed her up. But she is the only person I've ever known that has had a reaction like that. I don't know what happened to her after I was like 10 years old, because I moved here to Oklahoma, and I never heard from her sister or anybody from my life back then ever again. So all my friends and everything, I didn't have any anymore. When I first moved to Oklahoma, I had no friends left. I had nobody. That was really lonely, because back then you couldn't just go and voice chat, talk and FaceTime and stuff with people. You couldn't do that. So in turn, if you were little and you moved, you lost all your friends. You had to start back over again. So when I moved here, I started over again. I really was standoffish from making friends after that. I really didn't make very many. I am still real standoffish from making a lot of friends. So I'm kind of a hermit when it comes to people coming into my little world. But at the same time, I like to educate people. I like to study. I like to learn. I like to do research. So it's kind of important to me. Now, as far as vaccines go, 99.9% of the time they are perfectly safe for your child to have. There are rare experiences where you have an allergic reaction or another reaction with it. But as I said, for 99.99% of people, vaccines are perfectly safe. Do not think just because there's that 0.01% that 0.01% is going to be your child, because it's probably not going to be. As always, click like, subscribe, join me in conversations, come up with a conversation you would like me to have. As always, I'm still trying to get the money up for the IVF, so you guys get to watch what happens to a 40-year-old going through IVF, and you guys get to see the little project of joy that I've been working on for over a year now. So, as always, like, subscribe, click the bell icon thingy. I will be slowly getting everything up and better cameras and stuff like that just takes time. But we've come a little ways since the first video. See how you could barely see me in the first video. Now you can really see me. And you can hear me, so that's a good thing. You could barely hear me in the first video as well. But as always, down below, there's the link to my GoFundMe to help me and my husband have a child. And I think the next video may be talking about the cost of IVF in the United States compared to other countries. You guys might be surprised, just a little. And also it kind of varies from state to state. Oklahoma is actually one of the highest places to have IVF. So, but as always, down below, all the links and everything. Thanks again. Have a great day and enjoy your kids because they are a true gift.